Good morning and welcome back to Sun Up on 7, my beautiful people out there. Smile no man, no pretty bad, no noise. But we're jumping into our first conversation here today and we're talking about International Credit Union Day and an upcoming convention happening this Saturday. But speaking with us this morning, no stranger to our couch. I mean, she says she pays rent here and she took her seat, Dr. Carol Babb, who is who's a Education Director of HRCU. We're also joined with Mr. Mark Menzies, who's the President of the Belize Credit Union League, as well as Ms. Daisy Gabb, who is the General Manager of St. John's Credit Union.
So, Dawson. Let's put the Dawson.
Oh,
Your husband might get
Dawson.
Sorry,
Sorry, Mr. Dawson. But yes, welcome to our couch. And how are you all doing this morning?
Oh,
We're doing
feeling
good.
wonderful.
We're doing good.
All right, you did say that it was a beautiful morning.
Of
It
course.
is. Okay, so let's talk about International Credit Union Day. We were discussing it earlier. What? Credit Union Day? What's this about?
Yeah.
So-
Well,
Okay, so International Credit Union Day started in 1948.
Okay.
So it's been celebrated for 74 years. It is celebrated every third Thursday in October.
Interesting.
And the purpose of the International Credit Union Day is to build awareness of how unique the credit union movement is.
Right.
Because as we go around doing training, we ask students, teachers, how are banks and credit unions different? And many people don't know, but they are very, very different. When you are a member of a credit union, I know Renata and I know Brandon, you are members, then you become a member owner. You have a vote at the AGM. You are entitled to certain benefits.
right.
You know, so that is very, very different. Now, the bank might be owned by 1 or 2 or 3 persons. I don't know how many.
Right.
Yeah.
But, for example, Miss Daisy will tell you how much, you know, at HRCU, there are 62,000 owners.
Right.
In Belize alone, the country, we have over 150,000 member owners across the country who are affiliated with 8 credit unions. In
Okay,
this
so it's
country.
across the board.
Right.
I know that there HRCU, St. John's, St. Francis, La
There are
Immaculada.
La Immaculada.
Toledo teachers.
We have
Okay.
So you have one way down south.
right,
I did
Toledo
not know that.
teachers. You have Spanish Lookout, Blue Creek.
Blue Creek
Those are
Credit
Mennonite
Union.
community.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
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 Oh,
You guys
wow.
need to research and
Yes.
do your...
I
I
don't know about
Belize City.
Belmopan
No.
up north. I'm like, okay, yes, I know
So in
this.
every district, we have representation.
The
So
first-
in Corozal, we have St. Francis Xavier. In Orange Walk, we have La Immaculada and Blue Creek. Out west in Cayo, we have St. Martin's. In Toledo, we have Toledo Teachers. In Dangriga, we have representation St. John's.
Right.
And in Independence, we have HRCU.
Okay.
There's a
Yes.
branch there.
And in Belize, in Belmopan, we have St. John's also.
And
Yeah.
La Immaculada.
And La Immaculada. And in Belize City, we have St. John's and HRCU.
All
So we
right.
have representation in the
All the
across
country.
the country.
All right. So, I mean, all of them form a part of this league, yes?
Right.
Right, that
They're
is
all affiliated with the league.
All right, great. I like the sound of that. It's, you know, they're not like competing and
Right,
you know.
right.
But this convention now, or let's talk about the theme of this year's Credit Union Day. It's Empower Your Financial Future with a Credit Union.
Right.
Very important.
How, let's
to the
talk about
point too
that.
as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't have to
With the
think and you
credit
wonder
union.
what that means.
Exactly. Remember, it's member owned. And so you have a say in the affairs of your credit union, how it's run, meaning the election of your board of directors,
Okay.
your supervisory committee, and your credit committee. So you, Brandon or Miss Renata, you could probably be an officer of your credit union,
Yeah, right.
but you need to attend the AGM.
Right.
So you have to be an integral part of that session, which is very important.
Right.
Because you have a voice there. You find out what's the financial standing of your credit union, how it did for the last financial year, and it declared dividends and rebate. So it's important that you're there. If you have questions, concern, whatever it is, you could also contribute as being volunteer of your credit union in terms of
okay.
imparting
Right.
information through educational process to your membership. So maybe you could be visiting the schools because the credit unions we are very key on financial literacy, as Dr. Babb would tell
Yes,
you.
Yeah.
And so credit unions at an early age try to instill that in our youth. At St. John's Credit Union, we have a Toucan Junior Savers account. So from before the child is born, you can open an account for that child.
Oh, okay.
And it's from ages 0 to 12 years. Why 12 years? Because we know at that age that person is ready to go to high school. And so that savings will help them to buffer them, to
Right.
prepare them and get them ready. And we have seen over the years that by starting with your Toucan Junior Savers, when they grow up, they go through to high school, tertiary level, get their job, and they continue to save. And they're able to own their home, get their new vehicle, go further in their educational journey, you know. So we see where credit union have evolved, how it has helped the community and helped people to develop themselves through educational process, but not only of themselves, of their children also. So it's a cycle. So you teach them at an early age.
I like that, JC to the
Also-
land.
Also, I just want to put in one point here. Also, with credit unions, once you're a member, it doesn't matter if you have $100,000 or $200, you're entitled to one vote.
So no matter.
So that's
Yes.
right.
Can I get extra vote because I got more money?
Correct.
Right.
It's not
Just
by the
being a
amount of
member
money.
owner,
Just
that's
being a
it
member.
alone.
That's
Yes.
leveling the playing
Yes.
field
Oh,
for
correct.
everyone.
But I want to go into that voting part. So, Mr. Mark, maybe you could be able to just like enlighten our viewers or explain the importance of understanding and going to AGMs and being a part of just the information on the policies. We're earlier talking about the policies that maybe people aren't that much aware of.
Right.
Why is it so important for people to do that? Because I think sometimes when you hear about going to meetings and hearing all our policies, they become very
Frightening.
frightening.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is not my part. Let the officers see. Let's Dr.
Right.
Babb and everybody else to deal with that part.
Correct. Well, it's very important that all member owners attend meetings because at the meetings, you hear all the reports and you have elections, which is the most important part. This is where you elect your officers, like the board of directors. You have a decision. You can make a decision on who you want. Do you want the same person or do you want somebody else? So all the committees and the board are elected at the meeting. So as I said, once you have a quorum, then you have the voting, and that's how you get your board and committees. So anybody who is a member in good standing can be a member of the board or any committees.
Now, when you say good standing, what does that mean?
You're not, it means in
Malpago.
simple language, you're not a malpago.
Malpago. You
Ah,
don't have to pay.
Hard
We don't have
pay.
to run you down for come collect.
But I also want to share to Brandon and Renata that the credit union movement is big, huge across the globe. There are 56,000 credit unions across the world.
wow, okay.
Oh, wow.
But however, there are 1.4 billion people across the globe who are not members of a financial institution.
Correct.
No bank, no credit
No
union.
bank, no credit union.
Wow.
And in 2019, bring it closer to home, in 2019, when I worked at the Ministry of Education, we worked with the central bank, and at that time, about a third of Belizeans are not members of a financial institution. And that's why I believe, like Ms. Daisy rightly said, that this team is very fitting. We have to empower, we have to enlighten, we have to educate. And that is why HRCU and me as the education director, we are promoting financial literacy. We did training last week to the top level officers at the BDF, the police department, they are reaching out to us. It's surprising to know that these people, they are not member owners. Yeah. One of the things that I shared with them that I have seen as an educator, and even a police officer that told us while we were doing our training that many people don't prepare for their retirement. And the advice is the first paycheck you make, Renata, you start to save for your retirement. Not wait till you're 55.
Yeah.
Right.
So you start to put up at least separate account, not touch it, forget that you have it, because it's important. Many times, as the police officer told us, you see police officers who retire and they cannot live off of what they get as their pension, and they have to do other jobs.
You don't get to enjoy your
You
retirement.
know, get to enjoy your retirement.
Right.
Not enough fun. So we understand the theme, very fitting. We understand that, it's more of getting people really abreast of the power, the financial power, the
Right.
knowledge that
Right.
comes with being a
Exactly.
member, owner,
Right.
being a part of, and they can't, nobody could say that they not got no credit union in the district. Or can't coin that lie
Right.
right there because we don't list out everything.
Yes.
But now we move from the actual day and move into the annual
Convention.
Convention.
Tell me a little bit about what can people expect for that. This is more for the actual credit unions, right? So
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about what's going to be taking place? Is there a theme there too as well? Is it the same theme?
Same theme.
And like what activities can people look forward to?
Well, we share the same team. We will use the same team. And it's when all the credit union employees, so all the employees across the country will come together and we'll spend a day together. And we do training, like one of the training is happiness in the workplace,
Oh,
which will
Which
be
is
done by
vital.
Ms. John,
Right?
John Catus, which is very important. 'Cause you know, you hear a lot of people talk about, I don't want to go to work because of whatever reason.
yeah.
So we try and make it as best as possible for them to be comfortable. So that's one of the main headliner for the convention. Maybe you could add.
Yes, and the convention will, in St. John's case, it's mandatory for staff to attend unless you're on sick leave or on vacation.
Right.
So it's mandatory because it's all of us coming together, inclusive of officers. And so that we, collaborate with each other, find out what is going on in your area and so forth. So it's where you get to socialize, but not only the breakout session, but to find out what is happening with other credit unions. Credit unions is different from the banking sector because we can sit together at a table and have discussions and see what affects us and see how we can address those situations. So we are very unique. And like we said, it's member owners. So your members have a say in how your credit union is run. That is why we like to encourage members when there is an AGM, come out and participate. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what are your concerns. You could give us advice. You could give recommendation in terms of what new products and services would you like to see the credit union offer. So it's important that you be a part. If you can't make it out, you could go online and you could get the information in terms of your individual credit unions, how they're operating, how is their financial status, and so forth. So it's important that you be a part of that. And like I said earlier, going to those AGM, you could end up being an officer of the credit union to serve as well. And if you want to volunteer, all the better, so that we can reach out and give this information. We can't keep it close to us. We have to be sharing that information.
Right.
And we have seen how people have evolved with the credit union movement. When they started out, small savings, and when you get a loan, there's always a saving component. So we have a wealth builder. So that component of saving, so while you pay back, you save. So it's empowering you. We always say savings is the key to financial independence. So you're preparing yourself for retirement. You're also assisting your children, making sure that they get their sound education so they themselves can help themselves. And when they have, so the cycle continues.
Cycle, right.
So you start at an early age.
And the convention is also, you get a chance, everybody get a chance to share information and to share experiences. This is what is happening with me. How do you handle this? Things like that. So it's a good way for everybody, all the officers, the employees to get together for one day and share information.
I want to just briefly talk about the guest speaker a little bit because we kind of just touched it a little bit. We want to give the guest speaker a dues, right?
Right.
And especially doing the topic that she's doing, that's really pertinent to the overall development. I always say if you have a healthy workforce, your business flourish because they are the drivers of any business.
Right.
And so talking about happiness, can you talk a little bit maybe about the credentials of her, where, what wealth of knowledge does she have to impact? And it's just going to be a talk, or how is it going to be when it comes to this guest speaker?
She is going to be the keynote speaker. She's a Belizean. She has a wealth of knowledge in mental health. And so she's going to be your guest later on today.
Yes,
so
I
you
know.
can ask her all those questions. But John and I connected because I firmly believe that your financial health is very, very important.
Yeah.
As a principal of a school, I remember when my teachers were having financial problems, they couldn't perform as well as they should. So this theme, again, is fitting because we want to empower our member owners, people across Belize, teach them the importance of saving. Save first, then spend after. Pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Love yourself. Jean will talk about loving yourself. Loving yourself is saving at least 10% of your earnings.
Yeah.
If you truly love yourself, Renata. You know,
You
Kia?
love me a long time. So, as we're wrapping up this segment, I want to ask a coffee question because I for the people, you know how this thing go, right?
Right.
And when it comes to knowledge, if, for instance, you know, maybe they don't have internet at home or so forth and they can't make it there physically, can somebody call in and ask if you can call back and then give them the rundown of things? Because I'm just trying to think of how people can be able to get this knowledge about credit unions, about all the different, you know, the functions, and so if they want to be a member owner. Because I know there's some people would tell me about the issues when it comes to getting knowledge. So can that, like, what are the feasibilities of which people can be able to access this information if they live in the rural areas, if they're, you know, they're trying to see how they can get it?
People, like, if you want to join, people can call in and give us their, like, tell us where they are, their address, their phone number, and we can send a package over to them for them to fill out, and then they send it in. But to join, you have to be there to actually sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you come in and sign, then it's smooth sailing.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then we also have people in the diaspora who wants to join too. So we send packages to them, and they sign it and get it notarized, and then it's.
So with this, when I get left out, everybody could be a part of this ship.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So we have outreach where you go to the communities and do presentation. So for instance, for this week, credit unions will be doing activities in their respective areas.
Right.
In terms of St. John's Credit Union, we'll be going to the schools. So last Saturday, the crew was at Dorothy Menzies Children's Home. And so they spent a day with them playing games and so forth. They were at St. Ignatius School yesterday, and then they'll be in Dangriga and Belmopan between today and tomorrow.
Okay.
And then on Thursday, when you visit the credit union, you get a little package, you get snacks and so forth. So that is what we'll be doing. So that outreach is important. Also, St. John's is launching its Christmas loan. I just want to plug that in.
I know, I see it like...
So they can get their Christmas loan as low as 9%. So come in, visit, call your credit union so that you can find out more about that package that we are going to offer to you. So get you ready for Christmas early. We also have financial literacy. We have a show that we do on Facebook. And so the new episode will be on by the end of this month.
I remember them talking about that, right?
Right. So it teaches you about finance, about budgeting. We also had a segment where our staff actually went into the supermarket, compare prices, and say if you have a family of 4, you're making X amount of dollars per week. This is how you can spend your dollars. Yeah. And so it guides you right through the whole process in terms of acquiring the goods that you need to make sure you have that food on the table for your children.
Great.
It's important.
Yeah.
For
Information and health is, well...
For HRCU, we are doing a financial literacy training to 3 schools at Holodima Parish Hall. And the training will begin with a lunch. We are going to have about 75 teachers. The majority of them will be from Holodima School. They have approached us. That's what we are going to do. And in terms of loans, we have reduced our loan rate for specific purposes. So, Brandon, if you want to go back to the West Indies, we are offering 8%.
Going to study, give me master's.
Do you, boo-boo? Love it for
And
you.
then if you are part of this MSME and which other purpose, there's one other one.
business.
No, but there's one other type of loan, I think for small businesses.
Okay.
So the board has agreed to make that available at 8%.
That's
So
great.
for people, educators, attorneys, we are giving that special packages for you all.
Just special for your special.
Just before, I just want to say one thing. At HRCU, every day is Credit Union Day. And we give loans every day so people can come in and get any loan. I mean, it could be Christmas loan or loan for a car or a mortgage loan.
All right.
And we also we have a raffle, Renata. Once you do your transaction, put in
that
at least
month.
10%, your name goes into a raffle.
Every
And you
month.
every month you can win something.
Oh, nice.
Love
Yes.
it. There are opportunities,
I
but guys,
swear.
there are conversation. We could have a next segment for
We
you
could
because
have
time.
Yes.
Because we
need
have a whole next
day.
segment for go, and people, it's very delicious because it's about culinary, training and food. But sadly, they never bring no food for me, and I'm very upset. But that will be our next conversation I have with them. But thank you so much for
Yes,
giving
thank
us
you.
all the information. People, I think there's a wealth of knowledge you can get from this segment, and there's also a new curiosity where you can be able to ask the credit unions, be a part of AGMs, be a member owner. It's very simple. The process, you just have to ask. That's the first step, just having a want and ask, and then from there, they'll be able to guide you. There's a credit union in every single district for the most part, so nobody to get left out. Access the credit unions, okay? That is the way to go right now, so have that conversation. And with that, we're gonna have this commercial break. And when we're back, we're gonna be talking about culinary training for the upcoming locations of Hopkins, San Ignacio, and San Pedro. We'll be right back.